Well, I met Arizza, this young, beautiful woman from the Philippines, just moments ago. And in that short amount of time, it was very clear to me that she's extraordinary, absolutely extraordinary. She exhibits such warmth, but I assure you that what she's doing is powerful. Plus, we have a lot in common because she was the captain of her high school football team. She shared a lot with me. She told me about her parents. Her mother is Muslim and her father is Catholic. She told me that her parents decided to teach their children about both religions so that when they came of age, they could decide for themselves. To this day, she hasn't chosen a religion, but she did tell me, and it almost brought me to tears, I don't know if you realize that. She told me that she didn't learn the differences of the two religions. Rather, she learned the similarities. It was pretty incredible. She also told me that she believes that religion is about kindness, peace, and love. Let me share with you a few of her accolades, but trust me, she has many, so bear with me. Arizza is in her final year studying industrial engineering from the University of the Philippines. When she was only 7 years old, she started giving speeches and distributing books in public schools. She became the administrator of KRIS at the young age of 16 years old. KRIS stands for Cristiano-Islam Peace Library, and her organization aims to eradicate poverty and conflict through the education of the youth throughout the Philippines. KRIS carries the belief that war is a product not only of religious extremism, but also of poverty, lack of education, and hopelessness. She serves the poorest of youth in areas like Zamboanga, by building libraries, by giving scholarships, by donating books and school supplies, by providing free computer use and basic computer lessons to impoverished kids and communities throughout her country. She was the first Filipina to win the prestigious Zonta International Young Women in Public Affairs Award, which is given to young women who demonstrate a commitment to leadership, public policy, government, and volunteer organization. In 2013, she was the youngest nominee for the 100 Most Influential Filipinas. She hopes to disprove one of the greatest myths of all, that those coming from the most dire of background cannot end up becoming the greatest innovators, entrepreneurs, and servant leaders of our day. In Arizza's words herself, and I think this is absolutely beautiful, she says, "It doesn't matter if it is dark where you come from. It matters how bright you make your future to be." She doesn't just light up lives, she lights up minds and empowers each man and woman to be a part of the solution to crisis. So here she is, Arizza Nocum.
Thank you, Hope. That was lovely. In 2013, the Philippines was ranked 5th in the world with the most terrorist attacks, after Iraq, Pakistan, Afghanistan, and India. The Philippines is also one of the few countries in Asia with a Christian majority. 85% of Filipinos are Christian and 11% are Muslim. The Muslim minority is poor, oppressed, and 2 million of them have been displaced by government from their own homes. 7 out of 10 families are poor in areas occupied by Muslim Filipinos. Many of them are refused equal treatment when it comes to employment. The Muslim population's response to this is terrorism. In 2013 alone, there were 450 attacks conducted by 4 major Islamic terrorist organizations, commanding nearly 30,000 troops. Terrorism is a complex problem. What looks like a religious conflict is actually also a consequence of poverty and injustice. However, it was inevitable for young Filipinos to keep a strict line between Muslims and Christians, similar to how it is inevitable for young people all over the world to associate Islam with terrorism. But I was never one of those young people. I'm half Christian and half Muslim. My parents, who come from these two different faiths, taught me that these two religions can coexist under one roof. They taught me about peace, but more than that, they encouraged me to go a step further by starting a nonprofit organization that promotes peace through libraries. My family started building libraries to provide a venue not only for young people of different religions and backgrounds to come together, but also to provide access to educational materials that are sparse in these areas. We already know that poverty compounds conflict, and we are also using education as a tool to address poverty. Since 2008, we have built 6 libraries around the Philippines. 3 of our libraries are located in a region where many terrorist camps are and where child soldiers are being recruited. Our libraries in these areas have 50,000 books and over a dozen computers. Some are equipped with a rare commodity that we often take for granted, an internet connection. Many children who visit our libraries were able to access the internet and touch a computer for the first time. We receive 6,000 visits to our library each month. When we first started our libraries, children would come in and separate. Muslim children would go to one side, and the Christian children would go to another. However, as time passed, they began to talk to one another, ask questions, read books together, and even teach one another. Eventually, they would walk out of our libraries as friends. We have also provided 400 scholarships to both Muslim and Christian students. These scholarships helped us forge stronger bonds because instead of us organizing activities to promote peace, we relied on our scholars to organize these activities themselves and bring out the peace in their communities. One young world, this is what I ask for. I ask that in our generation, the slogan, "War on Terror," will never be used again. With every terror committed, our first response must not be war, but empathy. We must ask ourselves, why is terror happening in the first place? The first step is to understand conflict and what drives it: poverty, injustice, and history. The second step is to create tangible expressions of empathy through dialogue and cultural exchange, and to build solutions that solve the backbone, the root cause of conflict. The third step is to lobby against governments that wage war. When you see a terrorist, do you see evil? Or do you see a human being driven to desperation and extremism by forces that oppress him or her? One young world, if our own countries wage war, it is our responsibility to wage peace instead. Thank you.